It's funny because I think the reason your lives are so successful is because your passion comes through. Whereas, like for us, Mark deals with a lot of the operational stuff. I enjoy the marketing. I enjoy getting the deals. I enjoy the hustle and acquiring them. But I like the marketing. I enjoy networking, raising finance, and that side of it. I just think like I saw like the likes of yourself and some other people really doing some great lives. I kind of make a joke at this at one point. I was like, oh, really need to get on board with these lives. But it just, I think because it wasn't authentic to me and because I just didn't have a clue, basically, it was just a joke. It was literally, there was a Facebook Live, me going around this 3-bed semi. I'm like, all right, well, here we have a kitchen. Yeah, looks fairly shit. I'm guessing we're ripping that out. Who knows, and I just thought, no one's getting any value from this, Ellie. You just stick to LinkedIn.
Do you know what? If you're going to do that and you make yourself feel uncomfortable, just own it and say that. Say, do you know what? I feel like a bit of a twat right now. I feel like I'm walking around. Yeah, this is a kitchen. Of course it is. You're not just, and then it makes people laugh because you're saying it as it is. It's like the best comedians. They're only saying the truth. But everyone cries with laughter because it's what people don't admit. Yeah. I think that's all I do, because I think to myself, this is really quite boring probably to some people, like what I'm talking about. And sometimes I forget myself and I think, oh, I don't want to talk about, this is so boring what I'm talking about right now. And I've said it so many times, but then people will message and go, thank you so much for sharing that. I really learned a lot. It helped me hugely. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because you don't know. You may do that live and feel like a total knob, but then at the end of it, you may have inspired 20 people to go and share what they're doing, that then create investors for them because they share. Because it's not so much about being like an awesome blogger or something, because I'd never done it before. It's about just being present so that you can have people know what you're doing and know who you are. Because like I always say this on my trainings and when I'm with my clients, my coaching and my mentoring clients, it is always about, it's not about, like people say, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
But I believe it's who knows you. Yeah. Because it's like McDonald's, right? Does McDonald's know you?
No.
Right? No. But do you know McDonald's? Yeah. That's what's important, right? So you want investors, you want to find deals off market, you want to find joint venture partners, you want to find the best coaches and people like that. You have to be, people have to know who you are. And when I raised that, because that's no word of a lie, that's probably the most terrifying part of my journey in those beginning days, was trying to find that money, because I worked so hard to get those deals that I was so like eager to not lose any of them, because I'd put all the work in. I didn't want to lose faith with the agents that I'd built the relationships with, and I'd obviously had these offers accepted. They didn't know, that it was all investor finance either and things like that. So I was like, no, it's great, it's all good. And I was like, and some of them, they were like, you've got to complete in like 6 weeks. And I was like, I haven't even found an investor yet, how am I gonna do it? So I was totally, but every single one of the investors that I found in those less than 10 days, 650K, which like, I'd never raised money in my life. I didn't know any of them. They reached out due to me posting online, like using the amazing free source that you have, which is social media. And they'd never spoken to me, some of them I had no idea, like they just messaged me out of the blue and said, hey, I've been watching you for a while now, think you're great, interested in your deals. And then I was like, oh, because I think at one point I had like 250 people message me about one deal, right? And I was like, yay! But then loads of them turned into be complete tire kicking time wasters, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So then I started to put into place, like, how do I say? So again, it's like always being solution, like think of a system, right? So I then had like tire kicking removal questions, and I was just like, how much do you have to invest right now? Or 250 grand, awesome. Okay, how quickly can you access the money? It's in my bank account right now. How soon do you need it? What kind of rate return are you looking for? How long are you willing to invest for? And it was like a yes answer. And I just went, hi, like this, just because of Facebook Messenger, and you're able to do that call. it was like 11:15 at night, right? It's quite shocking, wasn't it? But he was messaging me, so I thought, well, you're awake because you're telling me the answers right now. Plus, I needed like 150,000 and he had 250. I'd never spoke to him before, but I was like, do you know what? I need this money and I need it in the next 2 days. So I'm going to do whatever it takes. So I just rang him. We had a brilliant conversation. Anyway, he was a king negotiator. So I was like, oh yeah. So I've raised money for 5 of them. The 6th deal is I've got my own money, so I'm buying that myself. So that's not up for grabs. But this one, I need 150, blah blah blah. And we were like, yeah, it's great. And he was like, oh, it sounds amazing. And then I was like, he said, you know, I need to use this money because I've got it from an angel investor and I've had it in my bank and I need to use it over the next 18 months. I've still got to pay that interest. So I've got another 100K. And I was like, well, no, I don't have another deal right now, but I could try and find one and get it secured and then blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, but what else do you have? I said, well, I don't have any other deals. I've only got one deal, but I'm going to use my own money. And he said, well, what's that? I went, well, it doesn't matter because I've got my own deal. I've got my own money for it. And he was like, yeah, but I'm just interested. So I told him what it was. And he went, yeah, I want that one as well. I was like, well, no, because I'm paying my own money. And why would I give you a percentage for another 100K when I don't need it? And he was like, because, you know, you can use that money to invest in other areas. Like, let's do both of these deals together. It's awesome. And I was just like, all right then. So then this guy became one of my best investors, and he's invested about 3 and a bit million since then. Like, he's amazing. And but he transferred, like, this is honestly, and I know I'm not saying this as a like, because this might not happen to people for them, but again, it's about how you manage your relationships. I said, look, if you're serious, I need to have 10% to put down to the solicitors within the next 48 hours because we are exchanging in 48 hours on that deal. That's how late in the day it was. And he was like, brilliant, what's your bank details? Within 24 hours, he transferred £38,250 into my account.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly sat there, was like, and he is the best investor out of all of them that I've ever worked with. The relationship we have is like a friend, and they're like family, him and his family.
But do you not think when you first kind of get started, I know certainly for me, one of the biggest revelations was, you know, in my old life when it was all doom and gloom and listening to the news and Brexit and the country's fucked and this, that and the other, and, you know, it was all doomsville. I don't think I genuinely had any idea how much money there was out there. And
yeah.
And being a novice to property, I think you're probably lacking confidence. You've not got that track record and stuff. And actually, like, for me, discovering how easy it is to raise finance, that was not putting the kind of investor, the golden goose, on that pedestal. And I think psychologically, when you stop giving the person with the money all the power and you can start working as equals,
yeah,
and it becomes like a fair exchange, I just think the flow's so much better, isn't it? So at what point?
Yeah, because I think with investors, and certainly for our clients, so for the real life tribe members, they're obviously going out there. Some of them are very brand new, and they're, a lot of the time, the feedback they're getting is, you know, what experience do you have?
Mm-hmm.
So that can come up as a massive like wall where an investor's not willing to put money in because it's your first deal maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to be willing to negotiate and do whatever it takes to even get that first deal, so that then that's part of your portfolio pack to show the experience. Mm-hmm. But there are ways of doing it, because if I can do it, so can you. I didn't have any experience. All these 7 that I started with in 2017 were my first 7. I didn't have any other than the house I lived in, but I didn't do anything to that. So like, it was totally brand new, brand spanking. And you've just got to be willing to do everything. And all the investors want to know is, can they trust you and believe in you? How safe is my money? That's it. That's all they want to know, really. They're not bothered about the deal. Like, yeah, the deal, the numbers, everything like that. But it's, can I trust you? And how safe is my money? And is it going to get paid back to me? That's all they're interested in. Unless like they're a joint venture or something else, which in that case they want to know a lot more. But it's like, you just have to do the right thing for the right reasons, and make sure that you've done your due diligence. And if you haven't got a track record, then yeah, you can explain your deal in more detail, but just show them how passionate you are, show them how much care, how much you know, strength that you're going to put into managing this deal to get the desired outcome. you know, and be willing to give more away at the beginning. If it's your first 1 or 2 deals, there's a saying that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I love that saying, because I would be willing, and when I was at the very beginning of my journey, I was way more willing to, but actually I'm telling a lie now, and in my authenticness, I'm not going to say that. So what I was going to say was, you know, I was willing to have a 50% of something than 100% of nothing, but I wasn't actually. I kind of was, but it took speaking to like JT Fox, like some of you probably know, he's a crazy guy. God. But I spoke to him and he was like, what are you being greedy for? And I was like, well, I've done the work, I've earned the deals, so I don't want to give 50%. Why should I have to give 50%? And he was like, well, if by giving the 50% away, does that mean you're going to keep the deal? If you don't give that away, you're not going to have the deal anymore. You're going to have to give it away or lose it. What's better out of those two? Yeah. And then he told me that phrase and I went, and that was when everything changed for me. And collaboration, you know, doing joint ventures has been one of the most profound things that we've ever done, because we found some of our build teams, some of our best power team members, like solicitors and brokers and things like that have been total game-changing people. So you get way more in regards to joint ventures, especially if you're working with somebody experienced. And we became commercially mortgageable on day 1 because of that. So that was awesome as well.
Wow.
Sorry.
I absolutely love it though, because I hear loads of people talking about the how costly bridging finance is, or commercial lending and stuff like that, and I don't really get it really. If you can structure, if that's your vehicle for, you know, being able to do a deal or not, and the numbers stack up, it's a simple yes or no, isn't it?
People get scared. I mean, like when I'm posting about numbers and results and all of these kind of things for the properties, people get, how do you get these numbers? And surely that, you know, scares you. The question I get a lot actually, and I think it was on Progressive Group the other week, I posted a deal and we just got the revaluations through. So like, for example, just for the people that don't know or haven't seen those posts before, for example, bought a house for 180,000, spent 97 on the refurb and cost to buy. So that was all the costs. So not very much. And the refinance valuation came in at 455,000. So doubled basically the house. And we've got some that we've tripled the value. So we bought it for 100 and it's now worth 350, right? So, and we've only spent like 50 on it. It's unreal because of what we do and how we do it. And there's like methods and systems that's what we coach, that's what we train. That's what I'm known for, the HMO commercial queen. Like that's what I do, right? But I'm not doing anything dodgy. I'm doing exactly the right thing for the right reasons, following systems, processes that have always worked and always will work if they're done correctly, right? So it's just the way that you do it. So they're like, how do you get these? And surely it's far too much leverage. And aren't you scared? This is the question I get all the time. Aren't you scared that if we go into a recession, you're going to be screwed? And I was like, thanks for the question. Why do you ask? And they're like, well, because you've valued this house, or had it valued at 350,000 and bought it only for 100, and the recession hit, it's going to go. And I was like, firstly, you know, I understand and I appreciate your opinion, but at the same time, one, how do you know that the house price is going to go down? How do you know? That's an assumption until it actually happens. Like, I spend my life not focusing on things that haven't happened yet. You have to do that. Otherwise, you could get overwhelmed and stressed about needing the toilet in 20 minutes, right? I'm sure, but it's as silly as that, isn't it? Because it sounds hilarious, but that is what I think. I just think you have to focus on the positive of doing what you're doing and taking one step at a time. Stop thinking about step 200, which is potentially in the next 3, because obviously when we started, potentially in the next 3 years, there's going to be a recession. Why would you focus on that when you've got to take care of what's going on right now? Yeah. So at the same time, I appreciate the comments then, that's fine. And it seems to be a lot of leverage. In the beginning, we used an aggressive growth strategy because we wanted to be able to buy as many deals as quickly as we could to, like you say, within 2.5 years, we've gone over 8 million. We have over 135 units of HMO, flips, developments, new builds, everything. So we've done a lot. We've delivered it now, so it's over 3 years now. We've delivered on over 16 million in projects. So it's been an incredible journey just in 3 years. And most of it was done using none of our own money. So the first 7 million was none of our own money. And the rest of it then we decided to do ourselves. But we use an aggressive growth strategy. So we would hire the leverage on our deals as much as possible in the beginning because we wanted to pull out the money and be able to invest and do more deals. Whereas now, potentially, we might get a deal like that where we have 200 grams worth of uplift, but we won't maximize the leverage. We'll take a lower loan to value. So the income is high. You know, so we have the choice now. But in the beginning, we wanted to leverage and again, be able to pay back, in, you know, because we must have spent over 300,000 now in our training, development, education, our coaching and mentor, and continue to. I literally spent 15,000 6 weeks ago on a new coach for a year because it's not what it costs me, it's what it makes me. So it's made me millions. So I believe in that because that's what got me to where I am. So when I get asked these questions, I appreciate where it comes from, but at the same time, I'm like, firstly, all you need to think about is, if the market drops, I appreciate that the value might drop. But if I've got a property that I've mortgaged for 350, releasing 262,500 with my 75% loan to value, this property is on a fixed rate percentage in what we've done mostly on a 10-year fixed rate mortgage. So we're protected on that front that we know, you know, we've got this. There is two things in life that we always can be certain about, and that is that people will always need food and a place to live. Always. And in a recession, it is incredibly tough time to buy because banks are in a terrible state. They need way more deposit, all these kind of things. And what I've found, certainly over the last 3 years, and right now in lockdown, we are busier than ever. There is more tenants than there's ever been. I don't know what's going on. Well, obviously, they've got to stay home, so they need someone. They probably all want to move out because the parents are doing the heads in or whatever. I don't know what it is, right? But we're like, the income. So if with us on that property, for example, is one, we've refinanced it. We've pulled all the money out that we originally invested. We've paid the investor back plus their percentage. We now own this property. We've got a mortgage that's fixed for 10 years. The income far surpasses the mortgage each month. So even if it's only got 50% occupancy, we're still covering the mortgage and not have at a cost. We're not running at a cost, even if it's only 50% occupied. And so this is what we've created is a fixed, infinite returning, cash flowing unit. So if you've got that, because they're all the panic is, what if you need to sell and it's massively decreased? Why would you sell it?
Yeah.
Even if there's a recession, why would you sell an infinite return, cash flowing asset?
Yeah.
That you don't have any money tied up in. You've got a fixed mortgage. Why would you sell it? And if your occupancy goes down or the rents are different and all of that sort of stuff, review it and make adjustments with your rental. So that's my opinion. It doesn't make it right or wrong or true or false. It's my opinion in how I look at it.
And it is right. Guys, can you please drop me a comment? Let me know what you're enjoying just now. We've had some absolute gold there. Hit some likes and loves because I was quite mesmerised by that. And I think it goes back to that whole thing, like you don't know what you don't know. And when you're in like, you feel like you're in the inner circle sometimes with knowledge and some of the kind of, I don't mean it to sound derogatory against people who aren't in the know, but when you get questions like that, you know, from people out with our circles and you try to explain it, I feel like there's a lot of negativity towards HMOs, and every time there's a change in, you know, the council tax.
People are they're afraid of them because, which listen, to be honest, I'm really good friends with my HMO officers and things like that because I want to provide, like, my mission for the property businesses is to raise the standard of living, providing luxury, secure accommodation that is also affordable. Because even our rooms that are like hotels, they are still cheaper than if they were to rent a flat. Because by the time they've paid all the bills, dealt with the maintenance, furnished it, it's £800 to £900 every single calendar month. Whereas to rent our rooms potentially between £500 and £600 a month, everything's included. It gets cleaned every 2 weeks. They're laughing, you know, they don't have to provide anything. And the thing is, that's why people are a bit scared, which I completely appreciate. It's due to the fact that there's a lot that goes along with it, and it can be dangerous if you don't do it correctly. It's like what we were saying in the beginning, having consistency, having a mentor, coach, trainer. If you are serious and you want to make a serious adjustment to your life financially, absolutely, property is an unbelievable vehicle to do so. Like when I made the decision, one, I was interested in property, but a lot of clients that we work with don't really, that property is not a passion for them. It's just a vehicle to earn money from, so that they don't have to do this job, to give them time freedom. I mean, every single person's outcome is different, but property is an excellent vehicle. But if you want to do something like HMOs, if you want to work in Article 4 areas, and for those of you watching who don't know what that is, Article 4, very briefly, is it's a council regulation that is brought in place that in an area that is not Article 4, you can just buy a property and turn it into a HMO for up to 6 persons. If an area is an Article 4 area, it means you must obtain planning consent to change the use into a HMO for up to 6 persons. So if you intend on getting a property that has 3 or more unrelated individuals, you must obtain planning permission in an Article 4 area. So it makes it more valuable, but it's obviously challenging and it's harder work, and you know that can be declines to your application and things like that. So that if you intend on doing HMOs and you intend on doing commercial, like what I do, you must invest in training or a coach or a mentor, somebody that is doing it already, that knows how to do it safely. Because I was talking to my HMO officer just the other week, and this guy, he was like, Trisha, oh my goodness, like they went to the house and there was like 12 people living in one room, and there was a fire. And he's gone to jail, and has £30,000 fine. He's gone to jail. The house has been repossessed. You know, honestly, some of the things I've seen just going on viewings, and we always talk about this story on our events, which but it's quite sad. Like, this guy was hilarious. I mean, he broke every rule, I'm sure. I own the houses now, so don't worry, they're actually great standard now and everyone's happy. But honestly, I went around to the rooms, and there was this one room, and what was really sad about it, we went to the top room of the building and there was a family in there in a room. And it's really sad. It's really sad. So just do it safely, do it honorably, and do the right things. Because if you do it properly and you reach out to the people, like HMO officers are brilliant. They're not scary. That yet some, you know, it can be a bit intense, the stuff that they tell you, because there's a lot of knowledge, but they want to have safe housing in their area. They want to have this luxury accommodation because it raises the standards for their area. We were in the paper for some of our councils saying this is the kind of landlord we want in our area because of and on our tenants, because we're just launching a new TV program actually, which is going to come out soon, called Come Deal With Me. That's going to be awesome. And it was hilarious because it's really amazing. So we've had the winner now, and that's with it's been filmed, so that's going on Sky and lots of different channels across UK and America. So it's brilliant. And what's hilarious is we actually interviewed some of our tenants. So we went there, and the TV channel was interviewing them, and they were like, oh, so what's it like to be a tenant? And I was like, nervous, but they were like, oh, she's brilliant. You just send her a text message. They were like, I got locked in my ensuite once by accident, and she drove over, and I was like, don't tell them it's on our TV. I was like, I'm so embarrassed. But honestly, I love what I do, but if you're doing that market and you think, oh, you know, it's a scam, trainings and stuff, I appreciate some things are not very good. There are some out there that are not doing the right things for the right reasons, but people are just not getting results. So do your due diligence like you do when you're getting a property, But if you want to do the big stuff and you want to get really serious and make a lot of money, then you can do it, because I did it. So if I can do it, and the same with you, I'm sure you agree, Ellie, if you can do it, so can they. Just invest in someone that's already doing it to train, coach, or mentor you, because it can be very costly and detrimental if you do it wrong.
Well,
sure.
that kind of leads me into my next question. At what point then, because you've obviously, your credentials speak for themselves within the, what you've achieved in property, but at what point did that transition into you wanting to support other people? And when did you set up the Real Life group and decide to start with the coaching and mentoring side of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we started, it was like December 2016, January 2017, doing it ourselves. And then in August 2018, we started coaching. So the way we've done it, I mean, Mark had been coaching for the last probably 10 years in like sales, business, systems, IT, lots of things like that. Lots of areas. He's very good at it. And then he was like, I think we should put it into the skill with this, because what happened, it was actually accidental, believe it or not. So Mark already had a training platform called Real Life Sales Training that he started, because he's a sales trainer and he was just brilliant at it. And the thing is, people are like, oh, with salespeople, but selling is helping. So the problem is, people are tarnished with like, oh, I hate being sold to and I hate salespeople. But it's because the typical salesperson is pushing something on you that you don't need or want.
Yeah.
But the real essence and truth of selling is finding out what somebody needs and giving it to them.
Yeah.
If what they need is not what you got, go away. That's not selling. That's just forcing somebody or trying to, sucker them into buying something that they don't need. That's not selling. That's something else. Selling is finding out what somebody needs and giving it to them. So he teaches people to ethically sell. And then he said, what happened was, we had hundreds of people reaching out, messaging us, calling us, we bump into people, and they were asking us for our advice. And I would do whatever it takes to help people constantly, because when I started, obviously people helped me. So I was like, yeah, I must give back because people helped me. But it got to the point where, because our results were so quick and big and loud, because we were very loud about it, or I was very loud, always telling everyone, it got really intense at one point with the amount of people, and I physically couldn't get back to everybody. There was so much. So then somebody said, do you offer coaching? And I was like, well, Mark does. And then we're like, well, and then Mark said, listen, we should do this, because we'd started like unofficially helping people, and they were getting results based on the things that we told them to do it our way, and they did it, and they were getting massive results. So I was like, okay, then there's something in this. So then Real Life was born in regards to the property coaching, mentoring, and training. And it was so it was more like the beginning of 2018. It was our first training event, which was in the room, big event, was November 2018. And we had 165 people in the room, 162 people at our first live event. Wow. Which is the best feeling in the world. And some of those people now, like one of them, for example, there's a lot, but just somebody that came to that first event is total financially free now, has over 97 units. I think it's 97, 98. Sean Cushing, people have seen, he does a lot of lives now, he's doing really well. Multi-million pound portfolio, earns over 20,000 net income per calendar month.
Wow.
Just since coming to that event. He didn't have any property. He was not doing anything. Absolutely unbelievable results, because what we believe, like we are a total, I can only speak for myself, but I'm so open to any training that can come my way if it's going to make me better, and if I can add value to my life and the other people's lives that I'm also affecting by being their mentor, trainer, and coach. Why real life? So if I can earn and learn, boom, I'm going to put it out there. And my mission statement is that results speak for themselves. So everybody that works with us in real life, every tribe member has results. and we combine the personal and business development. But the great thing about what I constantly do with getting new coaches, mentors, going on every training that is potentially going to help and benefit, is I learned what works, what doesn't work, and then what I was missing. So all the trainings that I was doing, what was missing for me? It was the accountability, the support, the regular, concise communication, because you can go in the 3 or 4 day trainings where it's really intense for that time and learn a lot of information, and then you go back home, you go to work on Monday and go, and you don't do anything.
The kids are sick, the car breaks down, you know, it's just the usual stuff, isn't it? Life gets in the way. You've got,
and you don't use that information.
Notes. You don't look at them, and then, you know, motivationally gets you so far, doesn't it? Yeah, 100%.
But they don't. It breaks my heart, because I had some people that started and went to some similar trainings and had met them there at trainings before, and I saw them like 2 years later, and were like, wow, you know, you're doing really well. And oh, thank you so much. I was like, how are you doing? Oh my goodness, what are you doing now? How's the property? And they were like, oh, we're just still trying to find our area. And I was like, what? They spent like 25 grand. And I was like, you've not got one property yet, still trying to find your area. That broke my heart.
And I think, obviously, you know, very much like yourself, I'm so into personal development, mentorship. I spend a lot of money on coaching and in specific areas, in general property, you know, I'm in a few different masterminds. But I feel like when you hear stories like that, this kind of is a little bit symptomatic of what's wrong with the industry at the moment, because I feel like, especially with the higher level masterminds, and this is just my personal view, I think a lot of companies even do the core training quite well. When it gets to the higher level masterminds that are sort of 10 grand plus, I feel like there needs to be more due diligence done to make sure that people are capable of achieving the results, you know, because there's got to be some responsibility there from the training provider, hasn't there? If they've taken 25 grand off somebody and 2 years in, they're still trying to find your gold mine area.
Yeah, I think this is the challenge though, because one, I'm not calling any provider out for sure. You know, like I truly believe that technical information is essential, because you need to know what you're doing. But the combination of business and personal development is what makes it. But also at the same time, you could have two people that go to the exact same training, like me and these people that I met at this training, and in 2 years' time, we've both got an exceptionally different result. So it's not always down to the program or the training provider. It can also be down to the individual, because it's like the saying, you can take the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Like they have to take the action and implement what they learn to enable them to get a result. So sometimes, yes, providers, and I'm not saying like, because thankfully so far we haven't had people saying things like that about real life. We've had, like, we just had our Trustpilot review, and honestly I was crying. It was so amazing to read some of the stuff. It's amazing. We had one bad review on there, which is awful, and he's nowhere in our funnels. So he's never been to an event, he's never worked with us. So I was like, how do you know? We have no idea. So either way, I was like, thanks mate, troll, keyboard warrior. But at the same time, there are providers that, they're either, you know, ineffective in what they're training. It's very out of date. We went to some trainings that I was like, I actually spoke to the trainer and said, excuse me, like, when did you last update this training? And they're like, oh, you know, 5 years ago. And I was like, you know, this is dangerous. Some of the stuff you are training is completely out of date and false. And that could seriously get someone to trouble because of the difference from when it was put together, the training, to what it is now. And when then I looked into certain things, it was like that the trainers that are talking about it haven't done property in years, so therefore they're not active and they don't have the live knowledge to know what actually is happening. So there's like things like that I learned along the way on how to select. It's part of my due diligence, like how to select who am I going to work with next. Who is maybe the right provider. working off recommendations, like who's been using them, what are their results, like, because results don't lie, which is what I talk about all the time. Now, we do similar style trainings in regards to what we've got classroom trainings that are really effective, because like I say, you need the technical information, but it's the follow-up afterwards, because you can learn about it, and it's the support you need after that is lacking in so many different providers that I've found. Because as soon as you start implementing it, that's when the real learning happens.
Yeah, exactly.
So many challenges come up, so many. And you need someone to reach out to say, hey, this has happened, what do I do? But if you don't have that access, they're losing deals, they're doubting themselves, they don't have the support, their family are like, see, I told you it's a scam, you're going to lose money, you know, and they're surrounded by potentially negative mindset and things like that. It will take you out the game quicker than you can say, you know, Jiminy Cricket.
I've started to really kind of lose my patience with this sort of, I feel like it's basically poison towards the wealth creation space at the moment. I feel like you say, you know, there's always going to be unscrupulous people in any industry. So I'm not here to defend anyone, but I think certainly my experience of training, mentorship, personal development and stuff like that, you know, if it's been life-changing. It's about so much more than money. And when I look at people, I mean, I study successful people at varying degrees. I'm a bit obsessed with it, and I don't think I've met anyone that's a high net worth or has that winning mentality or top of their profession, whatever that may be, that doesn't believe in the mindset, that isn't constantly trying to better themselves. Because yet you've hit the nail on the head, the technical knowledge 100% essential, we can't argue with that, but as all the neckheads say, you know, you can learn it all on YouTube. You know what, you probably can. You probably don't need to go to university. You could probably, if you don't want that accountability, it's how you take that information, how you implement it in the real world. And you know,
for sure.
I just, I find the whole thing a little bit frustrating, if I'm honest. So I think when I see people like yourselves, and there's a lot of good people out there doing good things, I kind of gravitate towards them, and I get quite defensive. And I'm not even a property trainer, but like I just have to come out of all these really negative groups and stuff, because I'm just getting.
I think what it is though is certainly like just experiencing it sometimes. A lot of it is keyboard warriors. A lot of people that say negative things haven't even been on any of the trainings that these people are doing, or have been part of a coaching or anything like that. So I don't take it personally anymore. I did at the beginning, because people, you know, do find me, you know, she's loud and all this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, that's who I am. So what, you're trying to assassinate me for the person that I am? But at the same time, it's like when something has happened that was the truth, you know, then people do have a right to share it, which is what I believe in true authenticity and transparency. And if somebody has something to say from an experience that they've had, then they have a right to say it and they have a right to share it. But yeah, you just have to be a pinch of salt with everything that you hear and read, especially online, because it, you know, a lot of it is minefield stuff. And if you believe everything, it's like celebrities, they say you can't believe everything you read, can you? So you just have to do the same with things online. Do your own due diligence. So like when I was growing up, it's like there would be one of the girls would fall out with another girl, and then I would be the one that says, well, she's not done anything to me, so until she does, I'm not getting involved. And then they would all fall out with me because I didn't agree with them about what, you know, and I was just like, this is crazy. And this is the kind of stuff that happens online. You know, this is the kind of stuff that creates this big fathom of, which is what probably one person has heard a friend say a year ago about something that has no relevance. Then they start flagging off another provider. Like, it's honestly hilarious. But just do your own due diligence. Choose to work with somebody or utilize something that works for you, because everybody's need is different. Like I say, technical information is important. It is. But 80%, like that is like what we say, that represents 20% of what you need to be successful. The 80%, like Tony Robbins says, drilled into me. I work, like one of my coaches, one of the top 1% Tony Robbins coaches in the world. So that he has a coaching program that you can do like one-to-one coaching. And I think there's 120 coaches in the world that do this coaching for Tony. And there is 6% of the 120 are the top 1% coaches. Okay. And then there are 10 of them that are the mentors that have coached Tony himself. And that's my coach.
Ooh, I like it.
She's kicked my ass, and I was really shocked because she's a woman as well, and I struggled with women growing up, and she's awesome, absolutely amazing. Really, doesn't let me away with anything.
Well, that brings me on to the next question, because you mentioned in one of your live recently that you've went from having 6 coaches to 0 coaches. Which is when you started to lose your focus, you stopped having SMART goals, you were less present. Could you maybe talk everyone through, because for anyone who doesn't know, Trish is obviously complete powerhouse. She set up the property business and the training business with her husband, Mark, at the time, who's still your business partner. But you recently split up, and in true Trisha and Mark style, they announced it on a Facebook Live, which was just people like, is this a joke? Is this a real thing? And you massively owned it. And sort of an observation from kind of an outsider, I mean, you've just had so much to deal with. Presumably moving house is a stress just in itself. You've got 3 kids, even when you're making the right decision, that doesn't come without baggage. I think that's fairly obvious. And I'm guessing there's an added pressure being in the public eye, and also being an inspiration to so many, your tribe members, the wider community and things. You've got a lot of people that look up to you. I'm guessing you felt like you had to kind of keep all your shit together, and at some point I'm guessing it's had to come off. And seeing your energy change over the last few weeks or so online, and the momentum you're getting behind you, it's like, I don't know if this is a bit dramatic, if it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. You're like a woman on a mission, and you just, the energy you're putting out to the universe just now is absolutely, and I just believe that looking at you, I feel like you're going to eclipse anything that you'd have previously achieved. I think your trajectories just went like that. But could you talk everybody through the emotional side of that?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, yes, it's been tough. It has been really tough. And because I think when like anybody, we were together for 14 years, and I'm 33, so we basically grew up together, and we actually did, because we've known each other since we were like 4, so we were friends growing up and things, and we got together when I was like 18, and then we've literally only just ended. So it was a long time. We basically became adults together, and we changed a lot, and we went through all the personal development together, and we both had very very big ambitions and goals. And the hardest thing was, I remember we were in the room. I'd been staying in the spare room for a little bit, and we told Courtney, our oldest, who's 10, and we said to her, look, Mummy's going to live somewhere else now, and she's very grown up. She is very mature. They have to be kind of with this, because we treat them like adults, because we want them to be strong, independent women. And she said, I didn't think this would ever happen to me. And I just remember being like, oh. And Mark was really emotional, and then I was extremely emotional. But because I saw him tearing up, I was like, I got my warrior arm to deal with that, so that, because I didn't want her to think of it as a bad thing. And actually, everyone, I mean, the question I get all the time is, how are the children handling it? And it's like, the children are amazing. To them, they're loving life. It's like, we've got 2 homes. I think because we've made it seem so normal, like, I still speak to and see Mark every single day. I go to the house a lot, so I see the girls all the time. They're here, then they're there, and we're just making it so normal. And I think whereas like my sister, one of my sisters has split with her partner quite a while ago, that she has a daughter with. And I think because they don't get on very well, it creates a difficulty in that separation then. So it makes it awkward and it's harder to heal from that. And although, you know, I'm not saying we get on amazingly, there are times where I'm like, but but I think that's one of the great things about us. Like, we are both very different individuals. We always used to say, you know, what Mark doesn't have, I have, and what I don't have, Mark has. So together we're 100%. And then we got to a point where Mark's like, yeah, but we're both 100% as we are. So together we're 200%. And I was like, I don't know, bickering about stupid stuff like that. Right? We should have known. We just got to a point, I think, where it was really tough. Like, doing that Facebook Live was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I'm not going to lie, to announce it to people. And the reason we did that, because I absolutely, of course, did not want to do that at all, because it's very private and it was a very difficult thing. And he was my best friend and the love of my life, and I never thought we'd split up. But having to tell people was like, wow, you know. But at the same time, we had a responsibility to our clients, our friends, our, you know, everyone that had been following us and being with us through this journey, that like, we spoke to our coaches and mentors at length, and they said, do a live, or do it, you know, release a statement, do something where you can stop any panic frenzy happening, where it's like, you know, you can imagine, say you joined the tribe and you paid money and you started a program and doing really well and getting results, and then you're like, is real life going to split up, or it's just, what's going to happen? You know, like, that would have happened. And then gossip starts to happen, and stories, different stories, and Chinese whispers. So we just wanted to eradicate any fear, any panic, any strain to our businesses, because we are both unique. We are both strong individuals, and we both have a total, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, a total unity in our goals for the businesses.
Yeah.
We really know what we want with the businesses, and in order to deliver that, you know, we need to be a force and a team, because we do put up with a lot. Like, we said to some of the coaches, because we have a certification program, because again, because of how many people we coach and train, we can't do it all ourselves. So then we have then trained real life coaches. So you go through a certification program to become a coach for real life, and then they coach people and they're getting amazing results. So it's amazing, a way to help more people quicker, because one of our mission for real life is to design, create, and deliver the most life transformational coaching, training, and facilitating to help people live the 5 freedoms in life, which is mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and financial.
Yeah.
So those 5 freedoms, because when you have all 5, it's like, and it's very similar, like Tony's got something similar. And in order for us to do that, we can't do it alone, right? And we want 20 million, we want to help 20 million people become free by 2037, having those 5 freedoms. So we can't do it on our own, right? So we, again, like with property, be willing to share, be willing to give more away. So we want other people to help and coach with us and do lots of things. And so that was always evident, and we were always in agreement with that. And I think, I don't really know what specifically happened or when it kind of went different with the relationship. It was just kind of our personal goals no longer matched. And I think it was quite a while ago that happened. But because of what we were doing with all the businesses and everything, we were very busy, like, and so empowered and so like driven to get these results in the businesses, that we just kind of, the relationship got left behind, I think.
What are your, you mentioned you've got,
but I think like it's because it just didn't align anymore.
So what specifically, like, what are your personal goals now? Because I bet that's a bit of a I think after 14 years, you're like, right, okay. Because Mark and I say the exact same thing. We've got such different attributes.
Let me know if I can help.
Oh, Siri's talking to me. Yeah, like Mark's like, I'm the front of house, if you like. Mark actually does all the proper work. He's behind the spreadsheet. He's making it happen on sites and stuff like that. And we always joke. He's like, oh, I could never do what you do. And I always say, I can never do what you do. And collectively, we've got the same skills. I'd imagine when your life's so entwined in, and I can relate to this because it's business and personal. It's everything, isn't it? When you're family.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what are your personal goals now then as single Trish that you're looking to go out and achieve?
Yeah, so that's the hard thing, because I think that's why, and I mean, everyone will notice, because I was a very big force from like 2017 to now. I've been like online. And then they noticed that something wasn't right because I was really silent and I'd been on in a while. And when I was on, I just seemed different. And I kept getting messages going, are you okay? Like, you seem really skinny. Like, what's going on? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, you know. And it was just kind of trying to deal with it, because I was so like, there's always a solution, which is how I live my life. And so is Mark, that we thought we have to be able to fix it. Yeah. Until we came to a point where we were like, no, it doesn't work. You know, it's not right anymore. We don't make each other happy in that way. Mm-hmm. And it was an acceptance of that finally that then made us move on. Then it was like, I was a bit lost, to be honest, very lost, because I didn't know what I wanted. I hadn't thought for myself in 14 years. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what I wanted. And that was where I think things were really tough. And I was so disappointed in myself that I didn't have a coach then, because like I say, for the last 3 years, I've had a coach consistently. I've had more than one. I've had a few different ones, different areas. So for the hardest time of my life was when I had my gap with my coach, with my running out of my sessions to then finding my new one, because I'm very selective on what I want in a coach. Mm-hmm. So I won't just go, yeah, all right, he'll do kind of thing, because it has to be, you have to connect. There's got to be something that makes you go, this person is going to make me, you know, like this person's going to kick my ass. You've got to be strong to be my coach, because I'm, you know, I'm confident, ish. But then you know, a lot of things can be a front, right, for people. People have certain masks, that they identities and vulnerabilities. And yeah, I have mine. You know, I've been through some really scary, dark things in my life, and it's made me who I am today. But unfortunately, due to some of those past demons that I thought I'd healed from, but actually I'd held on to, but I just never dealt with. I put it away because I was like, right, I need to be strong because I need to do this. So in order to be successful, in order to get by, because I was so like, I'm not a victim or a survivor, and I that was like a swear word to me. I totally rebuffed it and blocked it and just didn't deal with it at all. So I thought I'd got over it by being strong and a warrior, but actually what happened was, the bigger I became in regards to who I was as a person, we use this analogy quite a lot. It's like a balloon. So a balloon that's got pinholes in. Now the pinholes are the things you don't deal with in your life, that you just go, oh, I haven't got time to deal with that, I'll deal with it later. Oh, that hurt me just then, but it doesn't matter, I haven't got time to deal with that. Oh, you know, this thing made me feel really sad, I haven't got time to deal with that, I've got to go do that. You know, like all these things that happen to you in your life that you don't fully deal with, you don't acknowledge and heal from, because when you acknowledge it, you can actually heal. Yeah. It's like they're all pinholes in this balloon, and you don't see them, right? You can't see it. You can't see the holes right now because it's a balloon. But the bigger you blow the balloon, which is you as it's like a euphemism for you, the bigger you become as a person, the bigger your results, the bigger your goals, the bigger lifestyle you start to create for yourself, the bigger the holes get.
So then
they become big problems.
Did you not were you not aware that you'd not addressed some of those issues then until the breakup, and then it kind of opened a Pandora's box?
No, it was in it was when I started in personal development, they all came up. When I started to go through some seriously big, deep process. I mean, I've worked with shamans and everything to deal with that because it was so buried. And I was like, no, very masculine woman. It's like I almost rejected my feminine because being feminine meant weak and vulnerable. And I needed to be safe and I needed to protect myself. And so those areas of me were very evident, very strong. And it was only when I went into personal development and they rip you, they sort of tear you back to your most raw self. And then these things come and they're like, what's going on? And I'm like, no, because I'm trying to not cry because I haven't cried in years because I don't let tears come out because it makes me weak. For years I hadn't cried.
Oh, I was exactly the same.
Years. And then they're like, come on. And then they're like, but that's going to cause dis-ease in your body because it's just going to channel up. It's a healing crying and all this. And I was like, whatever, So a lot of my behaviors or beingness that I was throughout our relationship was certain ways of like acting that was not authentic self, because my authentic self is not to be a warrior, protective, don't let anybody get past this wall person. So when I started to be vulnerable and open up because of all the personal development I'd been through, I then went through a bit of a journey of like, oh wow, because I have to deal with all this stuff that I thought I'd forgotten about, but actually I hadn't. But I genuinely believed that I had. But as soon as it was opened up, it was Pandora's box. It was like, wow, oh no, I don't have time. Okay, but I have to because now I can't stop crying for 3 days. And so when we split up, I think it was pain. It was pain because I still feel it now. Like I miss him all the time because I was with him forever, and you know, he's the father of my children. I'll always love him. I'll always protect him. I'll always, if anybody says anything negative about him to me, I'll always shut them down because even though I might sometimes think to him, you know, I will still not have anyone say anything bad about him because he's the father of my children, he's my business partner, and we have had absolutely transformational life together. And yeah, you know, he's made some serious mistakes, I've made some serious mistakes, and you know, we I don't know, you know, there's always like times where you think, could you have, and things like that, but I just think we exhausted areas, and we are, yeah, like somebody just said, you're an even stronger team now because this is one of our tribe members. We are so much better. Like people are noticing that we are in so much more our power now because we're not distracted by our personal bullshit. So, and the children are happy, like Courtney said, you and Daddy are so much happier now, so that makes me happy. To her it's a benefit, actually. And then that's a bit sad as well, isn't it? It's like, oh, she's obviously seen how miserable, like she came to me before I left, before we told her that we were splitting up, and said, Mummy, you seem so sad and lonely, are you okay? And I was just like, wow, when she told me that. So yeah, the answer to your question originally that I've totally completely gone off on a tangent on, for quite a while I was really lost. So I'm just now starting to find myself again on what I actually want. But my outcome, which has been the same since I was like 15, 16, is to have a property, live most of the time, because now I have children, so it wouldn't be, I wouldn't be able to do it a constant thing, but to own a property by the sea and live by the sea in another country, because it's always, I've always wanted to live by the sea. I want to wake up, floor to ceiling glass, and to, no matter what the weather, because I've lived in another country before, no matter what the weather, walk on the sand every morning, feet through into the sand. Just, oh, that is peaceful bliss to me. And yeah, I that's what I want.
That sounds absolutely amazing. Well, you've been an absolutely awesome guest. Can everyone do me a favour? Could everyone just put a comment and let me know what you've enjoyed about tonight? Let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed it, if you got value from it, hit the like, hit the loves, show some love, guys. And I'm going to ask Trish one final question. And I normally start with this one, but I thought I'm going to throw you a curveball in case you saw it last week. So I'm asking everyone, for anyone watching who's been following your journey from the start, they know your story, they know your history, they know a bit about you. Can you give us one interesting fact about yourself that the viewers will not know?
I knew this was good. Do you know what? No, I'm gonna wait because this is like a secret thing that I'm starting. So something interesting. I'm genuine. I've had a brain wave about something that I want to create, like a trend-setting thing, and I'm just figuring out how specifically I target it and what kind of niche I'm going for. I'll privately message you about it. It's going to be cool, but it's along this line. It's along this what you're asking me right now. It's something that somebody doesn't know about me. That when I was 10 years old, I just wanted to be naked all the time, and I used to strip off and run. So we used to go to some of our friends' houses, but anywhere I went, my parents did not know what to do with me. I would strip off naked and run outside.
Well, I noticed earlier on you actually got a marriage proposal on here, so I think somebody's going to be doing a lot of visualising tonight. On that note,
I know, yeah, that'd be nice.
You know what? You're going to need to come back, because this is happening. I think I need to get better at interviewing, because every week I think when it's someone like yourself and the conversation flows so naturally, I could just literally talk all night, and then you've got to be mindful of other people's time. It's like, right, it's midnight now, Ellie. Can you let me off? So you're going to need to come back so I can put all my other questions here, because I've really enjoyed it.
I have too. I'd love to come back as well. I know there's so much more to share. So thank you for having me on. I'm really grateful.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing you shine in your next chapter. It's absolutely amazing. So thank you everyone who's been watching. See you all next Sunday.
Bye.
Bye everyone.